Kiana, see what she can do. Good afternoon and welcome to session 6, our second evening of finals, and we are ready to go. I'm Duncan McKinnell and I'll be taking you through the action, and joining me this evening in the commentary box is Charlie Balderson. Good evening, Charlie.
Good evening.
Another stint on the box for you.
Yep, it's my second time, so I'm looking forward to seeing some finals this time through.
Yeah, on yesterday morning I think, and saw some great heat swims yesterday morning. But, there's nothing like finals there. So.
I know, a bit more excitement. Good to see. It'd be good to see them go all out this time. It was a good final session from what I saw last night. So I'm looking to see it. Looking forward to seeing a bit more this evening.
Yep. So Charlie, of course, former swimmer with the University of Stirling, now coaching as part of the Coaching Futures program in Glasgow.
Indeed, yeah. Quite a big move coming away from Stirling. It became my comfort zone for a little while, but now settled in at Glasgow, and it's been great fun, along with plenty of challenges, but that is great as all part of the learning, so good fun.
So here's what we've got coming up for you this evening. So we start off with the fastest heat of the women's 800 freestyle. We'll be looking for Leah Crisp going well in that one, the British champion. So don't say we've not got quality here. British champions coming up to Glasgow. 400 medley follows that. Lily Booker of Loughborough looked in sparkling form yesterday. So do you think she'll be strong here in the 400?
I hope so. It'll be a good race, hopefully, between her and Martine from Denmark in the lane next to her. She looked strong yesterday, so I feel like she will be able to back it up.
And then the men's 400 individual medley, and again we saw Charlie Hutchison taking the 200 medley. It was, had illness problems in the British Championship, so it's looked good to see him back looking strong in the water.
Indeed.
Following that, we go to 200 freestyle. So
100 breaststroke.
I think that's wrong. It's 100 breaststroke next. So so the 100 breaststroke follows. And Cara Hanlon is just having a wonderful season and preparation for Birmingham. We'll be looking for a strong swim from her. It would be interesting to see whether Katie Goodburn or Katie Robertson, so such a strong Edinburgh University contingent there. Are you able to say that? Are you able to admit that Edinburgh University are strong?
I can. When there looks to be about 6 of them in that final, so it looks very, very good there, and it'll be a great race.
Yeah. Then in the men's A final, we've got Goodburn and Benson, both of them with nominations for Birmingham, so they'll be going head to head as they did in the 50 last night. That was a good strong race. I don't know if you saw that one last night.
Yeah, that was a great race. My good friend Craig Benson, I've got my bias for Craig. I'll be rooting for him tonight in that 100, but it's a challenging race for him at the moment on his part-time training schedule, so we'll see how he goes.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing any harm, this part-time training schedule, because he's swum really well this season.
Yes, he had a real big surprise swim on his 100 at trials, so I think he's got a bit more confidence behind him now on the event, so looking forward to seeing how he goes.
He's very, very experienced breaststroker. Been around for a good while. Then we go to 200 butterfly. Kiana McInnes, I guess, is the star attraction there. The Stirling University swimmer did a 2:12 in the heats, and she's another one who looked very strong in the 100 yesterday, and 200 is very much her event.
Yep, she's going to be chased down by Yvonne Brown, Yasmin Perry in the final, as well as Kira Schlossan. Hopefully Kiana swims well, but it looks like it won't be easily fought.
Then in the men's event, Eduard Rednich, you'll probably know more about him than I do, the Romanian.
Yeah, Eddie's a great guy. He's also doing a little bit of coaching back in Stirling. Great character and real hard worker, so see how he goes tonight on that 200 fly.
So then we go to 200 freestyle. Lucy Hope, the fastest qualifier in that one. Another one. Excuse me. Another one who will be hopefully representing Scotland in Birmingham, and of course part of the relay scene on a British level, and she'll be going to the Worlds before Birmingham, and so it'll be interesting to see what she can do in the individual 200 free.
I think she's been swimming really well, and that has been showing on show. If she swims at her best, that final tonight might slightly be her own race, if that makes any sense. She might be out ahead of the field if she's going well, and that can present its own challenges, but also can be a great confidence boost. So we'll be looking forward to it.
And then we'll finish off the evening with 50 backstroke. We'll see Cassie Wild for the women and Scott Gibson probably the star term for the men, but you can see that the swimmers are out and about now for our first event of the evening, which is the fastest heat of the women's 800 freestyle. So run through the lineup for you. In lane 0, Tegan Black of East Lothian. In 1, Isabel Wood there for Sterling Swim. In lane 2, Stella McCarty of City of Glasgow. Lane 3, Freya Bergsdottir from Iceland. Leah Crisp, we were talking about, this goes in lane 4 as the fastest entry time. Then Michaela Glenister of Stirling University in lane 5. Murray Craig going for Stirling Swim in 6. Susie McNair of First in 7. Phoebe Arbuckle of the Scottish junior team in 8. And Katja Andresdottir going in lane 9 for Iceland. So 16 minutes of the pool. Entry times fastest 8:40 Leah Crisp. So one of those 2 black caps in the centre lanes, the other one Michaela Glenister. So these 2 taking it out pretty much together. 29.89 and 30.1 with the Icelandic swimmer Freya Bergsdottir in a third. Early on though, so for this distance freestyles, Charlie, is it about just settling into the pace and then being metronomic through it, or is more to it than that?
Well, I don't profess to be any kind of expert, but yes, I think you've got to find your rhythm early on, you've got to stick to it, and the most confident distance swimmers have trained themselves exactly to what that tempo feels like in training, and you know, I always profess to my younger swimmers to not base their race plan on someone else. However, those more experienced ones may have a bit more of an insight into what their competitors are maybe going to be doing, and there can be plenty of tactics on show in some of these distance events on the world level and, you know, at a national level like this. So it'll be interesting to see how Michaela and Leah battle it out throughout this 800, and then those that are slightly behind the front pack will be needing to find their own pace and make sure they're settling in at the right tempo and not getting left behind on the paces they're aiming for there.
Certainly at the moment it does look like it's going to be a head-to-head between Leah and Michaela, and Michaela is certainly taking this out pretty hard here. So you'll know Michaela from your Stirling time, and so is this a surprise to see her going stroke for stroke with Leah?
Well, she seems to be going well, and I know that she's been having a decent season so far, so hopefully she's come into this with some confidence. She's come into it looking for a bit of a battle, and that sometimes can bring the best out of you. And it definitely looks like a positive swim so far. We're 200 metres in, and she's turned in first, so great to see.
Then a fair way behind is Freya Bergsdottir in lane 3 and Mari Craig in lane 6. Those 2 contesting for third spot just coming into your screen now. I think it's Mari's just got the edge there, but at the front you can see very well 100th in it at that split there at 250. And as they come back down, both of them looking comfortable, both of them just setting a nice steady pace. So they were just over a 65 for the second 100. Another of those would be around about 3:13, and just a little bit more than that, 3:13.51. So just under a 66, and Leah 3/10 up now. Is this perhaps where Michaela will, or Leah certainly will maybe just want to just start to open up a little bit of a gap and try and get a bit of space, and Michaela will be wanting to just stay right there with her, which she seems to be doing. This is great. I love a tight. We had a fantastic 1500 from the men yesterday when it was a real three-way contest, but here we've got a two-way one, and at the moment absolutely no quarter being given. Next turn 400.
It's quite interesting to see Leah opting to breathe every 3, so she's getting to see both sides of the pool, and Michaela opting to breathe every 2, so every time she's approaching the start end, she's actually looking away from Leah, but then she seems to sometimes take a breath just to check where she is, and it'd be interesting to see how that might play out towards the end of the race. Will that be a small factor that could end up more of a decider, that Leah can be spotting Michaela on that final length?
Just a little bit of a gap opening up now as we're into the second half, so we went through halfway in 4:20. And there's what, a metre or so perhaps is the difference between them now as they come up to the 4:50. Well, perhaps a bit more than a metre and a half perhaps. So you can see there the respective splits for that 50, 32.7 for Leah, 33.1 for Michaela. So 4/10 picked up by Leah there, so Michaela. So will she be despondent about that? But it's really, I suppose, it's not so much whether she wins the race or not. It's probably about her, how she swims it and what the result is, I suppose, for her in terms of time.
I always think it's really important to test yourself, find your limits, and going out with Leah here will help Michaela to find that limit. It might not be pleasant, but it can help to highlight some areas for improvement perhaps. We got to remember they're entered on times that are 15 seconds apart. So for Michaela to be so close right now is looking really positive for her.
Leah will be looking to wind it up here. So as I said, British champion. Michaela was 10th in the British Championship, so quite a difference there. And similarly in the Edinburgh International, Leah was 3rd, Michaela was 10th. So certainly it's now looking more and more like Leah's race. And another 6/10 picked up on that last length, coming up to 3/4 distance at the next turn. And you can see now the gap is about 5-6 metres. These two are a long way clear. You see a good old race going on the far side, just as you saw them going in the other direction for minor places. Tegan, Isabel and Stella in 0, 1 and 2. They're at 600, 6:33.14. So pretty much at 67 for that 600. So we start to do the maths. I think we're looking at what, 8:50-ish, and maybe a little bit faster than that with a final sprint. So I don't think Leah's going to match her 8:40 entry time, but it'd be interesting to see whether Michaela can match her 8:55. I don't think she's going to be far off it, if at all. So presumably unrested.
Yeah, you would expect so at this point in the season. So to be swimming this solidly, not fully rested, should be a good confidence boost for her.
You just saw going past the contest for 3rd place, Mari Craig very much with the upper hand on Freya Burkhardsdottir in 3rd place. So we'll see them again as these swimmers turn. It's Bell turn here. So Leah picking up at 7:41.12. 68 there, so that pace just dropped a little bit in that penultimate 100, 7:45, so just a 4-second gap between the two of them, as you said, Charlie. A gap of 15.5 seconds on their entry times, so it's going to be nowhere near that.
If Michaela can maintain the current splits or even dip under her current splits, she will be looking at a lifetime best if that is what her entry time is in on. So I think it's a really, really good performance. Leah just pulling away now. She seems to just accelerate. She's really got a lot in the tank.
Yeah, 33.2 there, so that is certainly faster than she's been going, and expect this last length to be even faster. She's up by, what, 8-9 metres now. So into the last 10 metres, Leah Chris bringing this one in, the clock going into the 840s now, so she's only going to be under 850 comfortably. 8:47.44, so good solid swim there from Leah Crisp. I think she'll be happy enough with that. And 8:53.01, so that's a 2.5 second improvement on her entry time for Michaela. Really impressive stuff there. Mari Craig entered on a 9:12, so this is going to be a good time, I think, for Mari. Let's see what the time is. 9:09, yep, so picks up 3 seconds there. So good stuff from the Starling swimmer. Freya Berkersdotter entered 9:08, so not quite at that. 9:17 for the Icelandic swimmer, but she did beat her teammate.
Great improvement in lane 9 there from Katja. She's in on a 9:35, 15-second improvement.
Yeah, so she'll be happy with that. Susie McNair next home, 9:30 for her. And that's inside her inch time by a second and a half. And Phoebe Arbuckle, 9:28. So a 5-second improvement for her. Some good swims from these younger swimmers in the outside lanes. So there's the winner though, Leah Crisp. So confirmation we're looking for here, and there you have it. And that is a new Glasgow International meet record there. In fact, both Leah and Michaela inside the old record of 8:56. So congratulations to Leah. New meet record. So good way to get us started. Some solid 800 freestyle swimming there. And we stick with the more endurance events with the 400 individual medley now. Interestingly, we're going from a women's event to another women's event, so we'll see the men eventually, but here come the junior finalists for the women's 400 individual medley. So we have swimmers coming out and getting themselves ready. Lane 2 will be Alexandra Miller of Fauldhouse. In lane 3, Cassie Wiper of City of Glasgow. Lane 4, another Fauldhouse swimmer, that's Ellen McPhee. In lane 5, Kristen Mackay of Warrender. Lane 6, Ellen Denny from Geary. And lane 7, and third Fauldhouse swimmer, Macy Carty. So Fauldhouse out in force here from the West Lothian Club. There's your lineup, just the 6 swimmers here. In the heats, the fastest was Ellen McPhee, 5:35. A couple of seconds faster than Kristen Mackay, so they're in lanes 4 and 5. Ellen in the white cap, Kristen in the red of Warrender. So when you're coaching your youngsters in Glasgow, Charlie, and they're talking about a 400 individual medley, what's your advice for them?
Well, a lot of the time it's don't be afraid. I think it can be seen as a really tough event.
It is a really tough event.
Yeah, I think for the younger ones it can be overly daunting, and it's important to remind them they are fully capable. I encourage them, set up a good rhythm on that fly. Don't be too hesitant, because if you try to save too much energy on the fly, you can really lose the momentum needed to swim the stroke well. So get out there on the fly, but you need to start pushing from the backstroke and especially onto the breaststroke. The middle 200 really is where a lot of the work is done, where a lot of the tactical changes can be made. And for the most part, you've got to do your best on the freestyle at the end of that. You've done 300 meters of hard work, and you've got to hold on and you've got to fight to win, to keep your place on that 100 free at the end there.
And obviously they're going to have their strengths and weaknesses, particularly these younger swimmers. I mean, these are 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds in the water at the moment, so they're going to have one stroke that probably is their stronger of the 4. So do you really work that stroke, or do you just not overdo it, particularly I guess if it's fly at the beginning of it? Yeah. And the danger, I suppose, is to really push your strong event and maybe pay for that later.
I think it's going to be a judgment call a lot of the time with the swimmer, and it's maybe something that needs to be explored over a few tries of the event, especially if they're just starting out. Some people can really capitalize. If they're a strong breaststroke, I always encourage them to really capitalize on that 100. But likewise, sometimes a strong backstroker could perhaps put in a nice relaxed 100 back there, but be nice and fast, and therefore they can use some more energy further into the race on their weaker stroke. I find a lot of the time my strong backstrokers are weaker on their breaststroke, for example, and I tell them that save a little bit, use it all on the breaststroke, and hang in there afterwards, because if you do put in a poor 100 breaststroke in a 400 IM, it can create a huge gap between the people that are stronger there.
So there's a good contest going on here. Kristen Mackay has come through in the backstroke and is just edging it as we come to the halfway mark, but there's not a lot in it. Lane 3 is Cassie Wiper, lane 6 Ellen Denny, so they're the ones that are up with Kristen. We saw Ellen McPhee, who is a long way back at the moment. She came charging through in the heats this afternoon at a rate of knots, but she's certainly going to have to do it in spades here if she's to get it back into contention. But don't discount her just yet. But it's at the moment now the City of Glasgow swimmer Cassie Wiper, who is just easing herself through into the lead. So where we do find out who the breaststrokers are, and it does look like it's at the moment Glasgow versus Edinburgh, with the Warrender Club represented by Kristen just behind Cassie for City of Glasgow. Gap of just a second and a quarter or thereabouts. Cassie there, you can see the intermediate split there, 45, so a fair bit faster than Kristen, and she'll be looking to capitalize on that down towards the 300. Ellen Denny in third place, and Macy Carty is the leading swimmer of the trio of Fauldhouse swimmers. But it is Cassie Wiper, 5:38 from her in the heats, and she's coming up to the 300 in 4:14, so I think she's going to be a fair bit faster than 5:38.
Yeah, I hope so. The interesting thing with these is these juniors, they almost had a guaranteed final. I think they did have a guaranteed final, so they may have swam their heats with that in mind, which is maybe perhaps why we're seeing 3 and 5 ahead of lane 4, because maybe Cassie held back this morning, knowing she would probably get through.
Yeah, so Cassie certainly is looking set for this one, so coming up to her final turn, and she goes through that for 52.40. You can see a 38.0 split there, and 38.8 for Kristen, so that lead is another 8/10 added to it. And so that's looking like 1 and 2, and Ellen Denny should hold on to third pretty comfortably. So I think that will be the finish order here. So the question now is, what time is Cassie going to muster here? She came into this meet on a 5:28, did a 5:38, so that certainly backs up your theory, Charlie, that she was holding back. She's going to be much closer to that 5:28 here, just off it slightly, 5:29.93, but a good solid win for her. Kristen Mackay, 5:34, so she's 3 seconds faster than she was in the heats, and Ellen Denny, 5:37, picks up a couple of seconds from her heat swim. So there is your winner of the junior final of the Cassie Wiper, a victory for City of Glasgow in their home meet. You can see there the records, and we'll see whether that goes later on for 40. As the B finalists now make their way to the blocks. And the lineup for the B final: Alice Cumming going for City of Glasgow in lane 0. In lane 1, it is Kirsty Gilmore of Hamilton. Lane 2, Lexi McCappin of First. In lane 3 is actually no swimmer. 4, Amy McLeod, City of Glasgow, and her teammate in 5 is Freya Beaton. The Icelandic swimmer Saneva Berg Asbjornsdottir goes in lane 6. Libby Doubleday in 7 for City of Glasgow, and 2 more City of Glasgow swimmers. Caris Mooney in lane 8 and Louise Connell in lane 9. So plenty of Glasgow presence here. So that's 6 of the 10 from City of Glasgow. So as I said, no swimmer in lane 3. Tegan Black just off that 800, so I guess it's fair enough that she's not swimming this 400 medley. So Neva Asbjornsdottir did swim the 800, but she swam that this afternoon, so she's had a bit of recovery time. With a fairly long break between the afternoon session and this evening. So we'll see how she gets on in lane 6. Interestingly, wearing a black cap. Most of the Icelandic swimmers have been wearing white. But straight off in lane 4, Amy McLeod. So Amy, 16-year-olds. Most of these swimmers are juniors. I think just Libby Doubleday is the only one, 17-year-old. Going in lane 7. But it's Amy leading the way, 32.26, up by a second. So certainly the Glaswegians looking pretty strong early on, led by Amy. Silver medalist at national age groups. Junior finalist at the Edinburgh International, finalist at the McCullum meet as well back in February. So she's got plenty of experience this season in 400 medley, and talking about learning how to swim it, and she'll have had a few goes at this now, and I guess she'll have a strategy worked out in her mind. Yeah,
she'll have more of an idea, as will a lot of these Glasgow swimmers. And definitely, I've noticed a good focus in Glasgow at training the swimmers and making sure they really work on all of their strokes and also the IM events. So these guys, a lot of them have swam a lot of this event. And we've got a good swim here from Freya Beaton as well, who also competed in the 800 this afternoon. She's been having a good meet so far, so she'll be challenging Amy here.
So Amy with a lead of about 2-3 meters halfway through the backstroke. So see there, 41.3, and Libby Doubleday pacing pretty much at the same pace. Freya a second and a bit back. So Libby is the one now just edged into second, and up there in lane 1, Kirsty Gilmore, the Hamilton swimmer, is looking pretty strong on backstroke. But nobody's challenging Amy at the moment. Will that change in breaststroke? We'll see. Certainly Libby Doubleday. I said no one's challenging her, but Libby Doubleday is coming up nicely here in lane 7. She's still a few meters behind, and Kirsty Gilmore up there with her as well. So it's Amy, 2:33.3, so around about a 2-second advantage for her. She's looking pretty solid on breaststroke.
Yeah, she's a pretty strong breaststroke, Amy. So we may see her pull away here unless we have any star breaststrokers pull ahead of the rest of the field.
Yeah, it does look like that lead is just building and building now, and she goes down towards the 2:50 turn. So it was around 2 and a bit second lead that she had. At the other end of the pool, it's going to be a lot more than that now. So she goes through 3:15.92 with a 42.5 split. Let's see what second place is. You see that 47 for Libby and 46.5 for Kirsty. So, huge differential there in the breaststroke. And so this becomes the Amy McLeod show now.
It looks like second place may end up being a bit of a battle in this B final here, though. We've got 6 of the other lanes now starting to line up that could be in for the fight for the second place.
Yep, so right on cue, our cameraman give us the shot there, showing those 6. Libby Doubleday, I think, still got the, or has she got the advantage? Maybe it's lane 2 actually, Lexi McCappin, but Amy McLeod going into the freestyle now, just 4:00.61. So she did a 5:20 in the heats, Amy, and coming into this meet on a 5:13, which she did at the Edinburgh International. So can she do a 1:13 or less for this final 100? We'll get a good view of that when she comes up to this next turn. See what her freestyle pacing is. Still, as you said, that race going on for second place, and that's going to go all the distance, I think. I'm not actually getting the split coming up there for Amy, so hopefully we're not giving us too much assistance as to what this final time is going to be, but she's certainly pushing it on now. Would you expect here to see that stroke rate increase and see a bit more leg action going on now? It's starting to come.
You hope to. She's maybe a bit disappointed not to be in the A final, as she might be having a bit of a battle at this point in the race in the A final. And it does look like she's capable of being in there, so it's a good finish anyway.
Yeah, let's see what the time is. Well, again, not coming up, so we're going to have to sort that out, maybe with the backup time. Let's see, it is going to be lane 6, so in the end, not that close for second place. It's a good, strong freestyle back end from Suneva Asbjørnsdottir. As I've said, she did the 800 earlier, so no surprise that she was strong on the freestyle. But it does look like there's problems with our timing system. The scoreboard here in the venue seems to have given up the ghost around about the 300 mark, so which is a bit of a problem. So, well, we'll see what happens as a result of that. We may just find ourselves with a bit of a hold up here. Well, this gets sorted out depending on the severity of the problem, but well, there's no sign at the moment of any times coming up. The venue scoreboard has gone black on us, so let's just be a bit patient there. But just then talking through there, Amy, we don't know what her time was in the end, but in terms of what you saw in terms of technique from her,
I think she'll be happy with that race. Like I speculated towards the end of that race, I feel perhaps she maybe would have hoped to be in the A final, and perhaps the heat swim didn't go quite as planned in order to secure her place there. But I do think she was fast enough there to be up with the pack of the field in the A final we're going to see next, and I think perhaps that might have helped her along towards the end of the race. But you know, she'll have plenty of experience swimming out on her own ahead of the field, and she still held everything together towards the end.
So would you rather be in a centre lane in the B final or an outside lane in the A final?
Well, as I say a lot of the time, is if you've got a lane, you've got a chance. You know, you might swim a time in the B final that could medal, but you won't get that medal. So I think realistically, as an athlete, you've got to strive for that A final, be in there with some people to chase, because it can help to pull something extra out of you that you probably didn't expect yourself to be capable of. But likewise, being in a B final ahead of everyone, it can be quite nice. Being out there ahead can be, you see yourself with clear water to the side of you. That can also give you that boost. It's going to be different for different people, but as a coach, I'll always encourage them to fight for the A final.
So it looks like that we are moving on. We've obviously got problems with the time there, and I'm sure that will get sorted out, but it looks like in the meantime we are progressing on with the A final. And in this one we have Kiana Kurtzer going for the Scottish national junior team in lane 0. Caroline Kjelstrup going for Denmark in lane 1. Lane 2, Holly McGill from the Scottish junior team. 3 is the Irish 15-year-old Grace Davison. In lane 4, Loughborough University's Lily Booker. In lane 5, Martine Damborg of Denmark. In lane 6, Nuala Gao from Geary. In lane 7, the first swimmer, Susie McNair. In lane 8, Eva Margaret Falsdottir from Iceland. And in lane 9, Jory Horn from the city of Glasgow. So keep our fingers crossed that we get the times coming through here. But, well, let's see. Hopefully we will. So we talked about Lily Booker earlier on, silver medalist in the British Championships, winning the 200 IM yesterday. So she goes in lane 4 with a heat swim 4:52, entry time 4:43, and straight away out of the dive. She's got best part of a meter's advantage over Martine Demborg. Martine did swim a good heat swim right up there on her entry time, so the Dane, you would think, might have give Lily a run for her money.
We hope so. I think Lily perhaps maybe didn't go all in for the heat, so we have to wait and see how this race unfolds. Martine only 15 as well, so 5:54, strong performance. Should be hoping to move that on tonight.
So we're not getting splits on the screen, unfortunately, but we are getting some on the scoreboard here in the venue, so we'll try and keep you posted on terms of what the splits are. Lily Booker certainly is going to lead at the 100. She's leading by about 3 meters and 1:03.92 for her, and that is over a second faster than she was. 1:06.36 for Martine, and she's also a little bit faster than she was in the heats, but Lily Booker opening up a big advantage here. Martine in second place, third place. Grace Davison ahead of Holly McGill, but expect Holly to push hard in the backstroke. That's very much her thing. Saw that fantastic 200 backstroke from her in Sheffield. Lily Booker, so at the 150, 140.99. Martine, 145.69, and Holly McGill now into third, 146.39. And Grace Davison not far behind, in the 147. Lily, what's that, a 10-meter lead, something like that. Coming up to halfway, so in the heats, she was a 2:20 at the halfway point. She's going to be considerably faster than that, 2:18.11. So a couple of seconds inside. Holly McGill's now moved up into second, 2:21.94, just ahead of Martine, 2:23.91. And Grace Davison just behind her. So it looks like really the contest second, third and fourth here behind Lily.
Holly McGill having a good race so far, putting herself in there with her strong backstroke leg.
Yeah, she may just struggle to hold that in the breaststroke, but we'll see. In fact, it does look like the Dane Martine Damborg has moved back comfortably into second, and Grace Davison is also now closing on Holly through 2:58. In fact, we're getting the times coming back up now, so that's great news. See there, Grace is split, Holly's split, and hopefully it means that we've got the running clock up on your screen, that we'll see the 300 split for Lily. So I can tell you that in the heat she was a 3:41.9 at the 300 mark. So the clock just coming up towards 3:40, so 3:40.13. Martine now, looks like Grace Davison is going to be her main challenger in this final 100. Grace was the second place in the Irish Championships in the heats and then didn't go on to swim the final. I guess that was because there was a clash with another event. So it certainly is right up there in terms of Irish 400 IM swimming. But it's going to be the swimmer from Loughborough University, surely, is not going to mess this up now. 4:15.47. So that was a 35 split. So I think we're looking for something a bit under 4:50 here. I can't see Martine being caught by Grace now. That looks like second and third. Well, we thought Martine might give Lily a bit of a challenge, but that's not worked out at all. Lily has really just bossed this one, and coming in 4:49.23. Martine Damborg in a second place, 4:55.23. So not able to move on from her heat swim, but good solid swim nonetheless, close to her entry time and a lifetime best. 4:56.71 for Grace, so That's quite a bit faster than she did, and that was right up with the swim that she did in Dublin in April, so good swim from her. Holly McGill, 5:04, just ahead of Anu Legal. So that's your top 5 there. So that's the 400 medley done for the women, but we now move straight away to the men. And once again, we start off with a junior final, and we've just got the 3 swimmers here. So we've got Aaron Dunn of City of Glasgow in 3, Ewan Jones of West Lothian in 4, and Hayden Sterling from Arborough St Thomas in lane 5. So 5:19, Ewan Jones, 5:20, Hayden Sterling. Then Aaron Dunn quite a bit slower, 5:48. So the chances are you would think this will be a Ewan versus Hayden contest, but we'll see what Aaron can do. All 3 of them 16-year-olds. So very quickly into his stroke, Ewan Jones in lane 4, West Lothian swimmer. And he's about a metre up on the other 2 early on. Sticking with him is Hayden Sterling. So about 7/10 the gap between the 2 of them. Then Aaron Dunn, a couple of seconds back. So these 3 swimmers. Nice opportunity, I guess, for them to get a bit of limelight here. Just the 3 swimmers involved. And Ewan Jones will be doing his best to make sure of this one. Then he's a body length up, 1:09.49. About a second and a quarter up as they go to the backstroke. These transitions obviously is something you have to train pretty hard, have a guess, from stroke to stroke in the medley.
Yep. This is currently my biggest area that I'm working on with my youngest groups. I think it's hugely important to master each and every type of turn. You've got some various options on the back to breast, and I've been working on just ensuring my younger swimmers perfect the most basic version, the touch turn, and then we build from there. And you've got other options such as the backflip and the crossover turn, which I try to teach them the crossover turn fairly early, but it's really important that they focus on getting it right from the start, because it can be risky, because you don't want to turn over too far. Obviously the rules are you can't touch on your front, you need to be on your back, or at most 90 degrees on your side. So huge area, very hugely important obviously for the IM events, as well as the individual strokes.
Would you encourage a particular type of turn, or let the swimmer go with what they're comfortable with?
For me currently, with my groups, I encourage either the touch turn, or if I've taught them the crossover, I encourage that. I think some of them are trying to do the backflips, and that backflip can be good if executed well, but I think on the world level, if you look at the highest levels as an indicator of what people seem to see as the fastest turn, I think the crossover turn is seen as the fastest turn, and I feel the backflip can hinder the learning process of the crossover turn a little bit. So with my youngest ones, I encourage them perfect the normal touch turn, and if you want to learn the crossover from there, then that's where you go.
Of course, in your club, you've got an individual medley star in Katie Shanahan. So do they all tend to look up to her and say, well, if she does this, that's what I want to do?
Absolutely, yeah. And we've used Katie and others like her who can do those turns at a high level as the demos for the younger kids, and there's so much value in that. And if they see that turn being done by people like Katie Shanahan, that helps. It makes my life easier as a coach because, you know, they want to do it. So it's hugely a great opportunity they've got in front of them to watch people like that.
So Ewan Jones has really taken control of this one. He's up by around 6 meters as we come towards the end of the breaststroke. So he's looking good to take the win in this junior final. 4:06.06 as they go to freestyle. So I guess is the breast to free the simplest of the turns?
You could see it that way. It's basically a breaststroke turn. So if they've perfected their breaststroke turns, they can do a breast to free. I think for the youngest ones, the challenge will be doing it on the pad. You've got the flat wall and the pad, and a lot of the times in training you've got a nice ledge to grab, but in a race environment that's not going to be the case. That's the challenge they've got as a young swimmer.
Yeah. So into the final 50 then, 4:42, a 36 split there. So you could do the maths, and we'll be talking about what, 5:28, something like that. Have I got the maths right there? 5:18. 5:18, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll see whether he can slide under that. He was a 5:19 in the heats. Hayden was a 5:20. He's not going to match that, unfortunately, this evening. So clock this one up, perhaps to experience. Things not quite going to plan for him, but you had 5:17.66, so improvement there. Not matching his 5:03 entry time. I'm pretty sure that would have been a short course conversion. I guess the short course to long course is quite a shift in this 400 medley. And if you can go pretty fast in the short course, it doesn't necessarily translate.
Yeah, I would say it's one of those events that can be wildly different, long course to short course. Those turns can really help preserve some energy if you're good at them over the longer distance there. And obviously the quantity of turns can add up to a lot of time saved if you're fast.
So there's the summary of that one. Ewan Jones, Hayden Sterling, Aaron Dunn, the 1, 2, 3. As we see the B finalists make their way out onto poolside. So the lineup here in lane 0 from North Ayrshire is Lewis Gibson. Dan Hall goes in 1 for University of Aberdeen Performance. 2 is Fraser Tetlow of Geary. In lane 3, Thomas Traynor of East Kilbride. 4, Greg Hall from Aberdeen Performance. Gregor Ross of City of Glasgow in lane 5. Here is Kyle Mitchell in lane 6. 7 is Cameron Doran of Bells Hill. Robbie Carlisle, also from Bells Hill, goes in lane 8. And another Geary swimmer in lane 9. And that is... well, it's not Oscar Churnside, in fact. He's not there. So, no Oscar. So, we've got 9 swimmers. And away they go. So the fastest in the heats was Greg Hall in a 5:04. He had about half a second on Gregor Ross, but it's lane 6 Kyle Mitchell who is off strongly, and also lane 2 another Geary swimmer, Fraser Tetlow, and lane 7 as well, Cameron Doran from Bells Hill, and it's going to be Kyle and Cameron at 1 and 2 at the 50. 29.8 and 31.1. Gregor Ross in the mix as well, 31.3, and Thomas Traynor 31.4. So nice to see that we've got that timing sorted. Now, touch wood, that it stays that way.
confident start from Kyle Mitchell in lane 6 in this butterfly.
Yep, so he's going to lead them through in 1:05.71. Second clear of Cameron Doran. Gregor Ross now just moving into third place. So the swimmer with the fastest heat time, lane 4, Greg Hall. So it's just not really at the races at the moment. Maybe that will change as we go from stroke to stroke. Certainly is a strong freestyler. We'll see what his breaststroke is like in a little while. But it is Kyle Mitchell. Maybe the same point you were making earlier, Charlie, that people were pretty confident of qualifying for the respective final. I guess it'd be just people perhaps at the edge of the A final or the edge of the B final that would be working hard. Others perhaps would be swimming more comfortably within themselves this morning. So we might see very different results.
I think it's an important thing to learn. You've got to remember a lot of these 16 or under, they're still learning how to swim heats and finals. And if they did fully commit to their heat, it's important to recover and rest during the day to come back and swim fast again. And some may find that more challenging than others.
Yeah, and particularly in a 400, it won't be very often. They'll do it at national age groups for the older swimmers. So the youngest ones, I think, swim heat club winner in the 400, but and then they'll do it more and more, I guess, after that. But a lot of the district events, you'll just get one shot at it. So yeah, so what is your advice when you're talking about, right, you swim your heat, how hard do you swim your heat, and then what do you do to prepare for the final?
I think, well, let's say they need to go all in to make the final, so you want them to swim really good heat, and then to best recover, swim down is crucial, and my swimmers have heard that from me 100 times. You know, we go on and on about it, but it's so crucial. You've got to swim that race out of the body. You've got to get rid of the lactic acid. If that is allowed to sit in the muscles, then you're going to be achy. That achy feeling can stay with you all day, and it can make you feel sluggish for the final. So you've got to get that swim down done, and then you've got to get, if you can leave, get some food, get out of the building, get some fresh air, and even a nap. All of those things can help. Sleep, nutrition, and fresh air can all really help to get in another good swim out of you in the evening.
Okay, so swimmers watching this and parents watching this, if we take that advice from Charlie, but this is shaping up to be a really good race here. Lane 5, Gregor Ross has had an excellent breaststroke, and he's moved through into the lead, 3:51.21, leads by 1.7 from Thomas Traynor in lane 3 and Fraser Tetlow in lane 2. You would think it's between these three now, with another three-way battle going on for 4th place, and maybe they will start to close in, certainly on 2nd and 3rd, but let's see whether Gregor Ross can hold this advantage. So coming up to the final turn, we'll get their respective splits here. So Gregor going through 4:26 on a 34.8. So Fraser Tetlow is pacing a little bit faster, but he's 1.8 seconds back. So that is a big ask to try and make that up down this final 50. So it's looking very good for City of Glasgow's Gregor Ross to take this B final. And really, it's all about who's going to get second now. This is getting very tight indeed. Greg Hall has come steaming through in lane 4. He is challenging for second now, but Gregor Ross takes the win. Fraser Tetlow just holds on to second place by 4/10 from Greg Hall, who takes third. So 4:59.55 for Gregor, 5:05 in the heats, and a 5:03 entry time. So moving a 5:03 down to a 4:59. He'll be happy with that. Fraser Tetlow a 5:00. So good swim from the Geary swimmer, taking second there. And 5:01.03 for Greg Hall, 3 plus seconds inside his entry time. Confirmation there of that result. And straight on to the A final. So there is lane 0. I'm waiting for Matthew McMillan. There he is. Oh, celebration time, getting the support of the junior team there. Travis Davey in lane 1 for Dundee City Aquatics. Iceland's Veigar Hrafn Sigborson in 2. Matthew Ward, another from the Scottish junior team, in 3. Charlie Hutchison in lane 4. With the purple of Loughborough there. 5 is Don Bissett of Stirling University in the green. Lane 6, Tom Robinson, Aberdeen Performance. Lane 7, City of Glasgow's Robert Burgess. In lane 8, Ben McLaughlin of Geary. And in lane 9, Kai Connolly from the Scottish junior team. So there is the lineup. Charlie Hutchison, winner in the 200 medley yesterday, you would think would be the favourite here. Winner in the McCullum meet in February, winner at British Universities. Can he add the Glasgow International to that list of achievements? 4:33 in the heats, come into the meet on a 4:17. If he can get close to that, then the meet record of 4:20.98 could be at risk. So we'll keep an eye on that as this goes, because Charlie certainly is setting off at pace, opening up the gap. So already a body length up, 27.42. Don Bissett in second, just ahead of Travis Davey. Veigar Sigþórsson just behind him in lane 2. And also others around and about. Tom Robinson for one, Robert Burgess for another. But Charlie Hutchison leads that group, vying for second. Goes through in 59.01. So much faster, as you would expect, than the B final. Charlie was a 1:01 in the heat, so over 2 seconds faster this evening. Going nicely in lane 3, Matthew Warden. He's a very strong backstroker, Matthew. Part of the Scottish junior team who are having a camp here in Glasgow this weekend alongside the nominees for the Commonwealth Games. So that's great experience for the juniors, isn't it, to be in their company?
Yeah, I can see that. That would be hugely valuable for those younger ones to, you know, see all those the examples being put into play around a meet, how they manage themselves, and you know how they prepare themselves. They've got a warm-up area behind the marshalling where they can see up close what are they doing before their races, before they warm up. Great examples on show from the Commonwealth team.
So coming up to halfway, and Charlie Hutchison now about 7 meters clear, 2:06.33. So he's now nearly 6 seconds faster than he was in the heat. So he is pushing this pretty hard here. Matthew Ward on his own in a second place after his strong backstroke. Backstroke very much his strength. So you expect them maybe to come back at him a little bit. Don Bissett was out of shot at the moment in lane 5. You can just see him coming in there now. A very strong breaststroker, so he might make a bit of a move. But nobody, I think, is going to get anywhere close to Charlie. A 38.0 for the first half of his breaststroke. And you see that continuing to build that lead. 41 for Matthew. 38.8 for Tom Robinson, so he's going well, and he's a strong freestyler, so he'll fancy his chances perhaps for a place behind Charlie. Once this is done and dusted, lovely close-up view there. Charlie Hutchison's breaststroke, beautifully balanced breaststroke, and into the freestyle 3:23.11. So again, much faster than he was in the heats, now 6 seconds faster. So a 4:17 was his entry time. He's not going to be too far from that, we think. We'll get a better idea at this next split. But look at that lead, nobody else in camera shot. some 15 meters behind, and there's no one there. So 3:54. So looking at what, 4:25, maybe something like that.
You can just see at the moment a good battle going on there for second place. We'll see how they finish up.
Yeah, we'll no doubt see them as they come in for the final stages, but focusing here on Charlie. We talked about the disappointments that he had at the British Championships. It's not in good shape health-wise, so 4:25.88 to take that win, so good solid swim. Now who's going to get that second spot? It looks like it's lane 6, Tom Robinson with that strong freestyle. Matthew Ward coming back hard as well, just behind him 4:36.79, and then Don Bissett and Vega Sigþórsson not too far behind, 4:41 and 4:42 respectively. So Charlie Hudson though is the man there. A convincing victory of over 10 seconds clear. So he picks up his second medley win. So we now are finished with the individual medley, and we go to 100 breaststroke now. And out come the junior finalists for the women. So in lane 0 we've got Zara Smith representing Warrender. In lane 1 we have Leah Bullock of East Kilbride. Perry Scobby goes in 2 for Sterling Swim. Rebecca Cole for Hamilton in lane 3. Lane 4 is Ailey Robertson of South Ayrshire. Lane 5, May Rogers of Warrender. Also from Warrender, Ailey Stewart goes in lane 6. 7 is Tegan Black of East Lothian. Lane 8, Ella McGeorge from Cooper. And lane 9, Madeline Protheson from the city of Glasgow. So there was just 1,200 separating Ailey Robertson and May Rogers in the heats. Robertson certainly a very strong breaststroker, part of that Robertson dynasty from South Ayrshire, and of course 2 of them now in Edinburgh, Erin and Katie. Ailey continuing in their footsteps, the 15-year-old. May Rogers looked very strong in the heats earlier, so we'll see what she can do, and others as well could be up there. So completely different, of course, 100 versus that 400 that we have been seeing. So is this really about going all out, all the way, or?
Nearly. 100 breaststroke, you know, the 100s are sprint events. There is a slight bit of control probably on that first 50, but you need to make sure you're not holding too much back. So you've got to attack it, you've got to be strong, you've got to be willing to hurt a little bit on the way home.
So Ailey Robertson by 500, it's Ailey Stewart and Ella McGeorge right up there. So is Rebecca Cole, so is May Rogers. Well, this one could go any of a number of ways here. The blue cap of Ailey Robertson in lane 4, I think still just has the edge, but they're after her, definitely, particularly now May Rogers in lane 5. Who is going to get this one? Rebecca Cole pushing on strongly. So is Perry Scobby in lane 2. Oh, this could go still any of about 4 or 5 ways. Who is going to get it? Is it going to be Ailey Robertson? Or is it going to be May Rogers? It is May Rogers. Just nudging that finish. And
what a finish. That was brilliant from May Rogers there. She had a much faster stroke rate in the last 5 meters, and maybe, clearly it was just enough to get her hands on the wall.
Yeah, certainly. With 5 meters to go, it looked like it was going to be Ailey, but well, it ain't over till it's over. And May just getting in there by 600. 1:18.51. It's 1:18.57 for Ailey, and Ella McGeorge, nice swim from her. 1:19.17 for the girl from Cooper in Fife. So on to the B final. Out they come. And in lane 0, we've got Mari Craig from Sterling Swim. In lane 1, Emily McGee of Carnoustie. In lane 2, Sheila Kirktup of Denmark. 3 is Kira Davidson, City of Glasgow. Justine Tabor goes for Denmark in lane 4. Brigitte Lemazurier in lane 5 for Edinburgh University. Anna de Grosser of Best in lane 6. Lucy Stoves, Dundee City Aquatics in 7. Aoife Marley of Witham in lane 8. And Amy McLeod back quickly in lane 9 for the City of Glasgow. Pretty tough coming back from that 400 IM and now having to do 100 breaststroke with, I suppose she's had probably what, about 20 minutes rest maybe between the two?
Maybe around that. Also, we got Mary Craig back from the 800 as well. So, yeah, to step it up here.
So we'll see how they get on. 1:14.6, Justine Tabor, the fastest in the heats. The Dane. So we'll see whether she can take this in. She's a 1:11 her entry time. Danish junior champion. And certainly off to a good start in lane 4. Brigitte Lemazurier in 5. Kira Davidson in 3, so very much breaststroke specialists. I think probably all 3 of them. And it is Justine who is going to lead, 17-year-old. So sure these swimmers all looking hopefully for a place in Danish European Juniors team. 33.81, a lead of around 6/10 over Brigitte. See if Brigitte can close that down at all in the second half. So sticking with Justine, is she closing a little bit?
She is a little bit here. It's maybe not enough pull left for her.
15 to go. And still Justine in the white cap. Still up by the best part of, well, in fact, a bit more than a metre, I think. So this is definitely going to be a Danish victory here. Brigitte Lemazurier in a solid second place and Kira Davison in third. 1:13.25 for Justine. So matching her entry time, but comfortably faster than she was in the heats. Let's wait for confirmation, and there you have it. 1:14.05 for Brigitte Lemazurier, second faster than she was in the heats, and Kira Davison 1:15.25 in third pot. So on to the A final. So Maya Hall will go for the Borough of Stockton in lane 0. She's there somewhere, I think. Oh, in fact, she's actually just running out. She was a bit late out to the blocks. Lane 1 is Nuala Gow of Geary. Charlotte Hardy from the junior team in 2. Kate Cooper in Edinburgh University in 3. And we'll talk about Edinburgh University for a while here. Cara Hanlon in lane 4. Lane 5, Katie Robertson. So we just saw her sister a little while ago. Anna Morgan in lane 6. Olwyn Cook in lane 7. So all of them from Edinburgh University. Lane 8 is Ida Krag of Denmark. And lane 9, Elsa MacDonald, another from Edinburgh University. So you fancy Edinburgh University here, and in particular, I guess you fancy Cara Hanlon.
Definitely, yeah, it'd be good to watch, hopefully.
The two Katies, be interesting to see how they go. Katie Cooper put in a good, strong 50 yesterday. Katie Robertson was a 1:11 in the heats. That was a pretty solid heat swim from Katie Robertson, and she's off to a good start there off the box. Of course, much taller swimmer than Cara Hanlon. She gets that advantage off the blocks, but now you can see Cara starting to come through in lane 4. So it just shows you don't have to be the biggest swimmer in the world to be strong.
Absolutely, Cara really is coming into her own on this breaststroke swim section. See how she performs around the turn here.
So 32.22 is nearly a second faster than she was this morning, and leads by 9/10 over Katie Robertson, with Anna Morgan just ahead of Olwyn Cook and Katie Cooper in third place. Cara Hanlon looking good to add to her 50 breaststroke win last night. Certainly I can't see Katie Robertson catching her. She's going to be good for second, and then, well, who's going to get third? That's not clear at all. Keep an eye on the meet record here, 1:08.34. Is that going to go? Yes, it is. 1:08.15 for Cara Hanlon. New meet record there. And Katie Robertson there, 1:10.58. So a nice improvement from her. Came into this meet on a 1:10.20, so I think she'll be pretty happy with that, you would think. And certainly I would think Cara will be happy with that as well. Just half a second away from her best time. You see there, 2/10 inside the meet record, and that was held by Mona McSharry, which is a pretty solid swimmer.
Yeah, that's great to see, and I'm sure Cara will be delighted with that at this point in the season. As we've discussed, the swimmers are most likely not fully rested here, and she'll be delighted to be so close to her best. It'll be a big confidence boost taking her into the summer.
Anna Morgan taking third, 1:13.08 as the head of Charlotte Hardy and Maya Hall. So good stuff there. That was an enjoyable women's 100 breaststroke. Now we move to the men. Once again, we start with the junior final. The line-up here in lane 0, City of Glasgow's Adam Scott. In lane 1, another from City of Glasgow, and that is Max Pelosi. In lane 2, we've got Royas Kringelis of Bells Hill. In lane 3, Luke Hornsey from the Scottish junior team. Evan Bailey of Ireland in lane 4. 5 is Robson Miles, City of Glasgow. In lane 6, there we see Connor Mitchell, or part of him. Lane 7, Jake Holmes for City of Glasgow. Logan van der Merlen of Sterling Swim in 8, and Lewis Gray of Inverclyde in lane 9. So that's your lineup. 1:09.9s from both Evan Bailey and Robson Miles this morning. So those are the two you would think might be battling it out in the centre lanes. Both 17-year-olds. Evan Bailey, Irish Championship finalist, at 1:05.7 entry time, and certainly starting very nicely there. Very fast off the blocks. Lanes 3, 5 and 6 all pretty close. Lane 2 as well. Royas in the black cap. Luke Hornsey in lane 3. Robson Miles in 5. Connor Mitchell in 6. But it is the Irishman who is dominating. 31.95 up by 8/10. Luke Hornsey second. Connor Mitchell third. Through the turn. Luke Hornsey, interesting swimmer. Doubles between distance freestyle and breaststroke, so they're a fairly unusual combination.
Provide a bit of variety for him, different focuses, can be good.
But it's pretty clear who's going to get this one now. So Evan Bailey absolutely dominating this. So 1:09.9, as I said in the heats, is surely going to be a fair bit faster than that here. 1:07.14, so good, strong swim from the young Irishman. Takes the win convincingly. He looks across. What does he think? Giving nothing away whatsoever. Second place then, Robson Miles, 1:09.98, just going ahead of Luke Hornsey down the stretch there. 1:10.38 for Luke in third place. Tie for fifth place there. Royce Gringelis, Connor Mitchell just behind Jake Holmes. Oh, a three-way in fact. Lewis Gray as well. Yeah, all three in 1:11.31. Don't see that too often. So on to the B final. We've got Dom Bissett. He's not had too much rest from that 400 IM. He goes in lane 0, Stirling University. Then 2 from Edinburgh University. Joshua Mitchell in 1. Hugh Takamoto in 2. Yusef Betut in 3 from City of Glasgow. Daddy Bjornsson of Iceland in 4. Jonas Gahr of Denmark in 5. Alex Meyer of Stirling University in 6. Snorri Einarsson of Iceland in 7. His teammate Aaron Jonsson in 8. And Angus Allison in lane 9 for Stirling University. So 1:05.71 in the heats for Daddy Bjornsson, and Jonas Gahr 105.78, and then a couple on the low 106s. So yeah, expect this one to be a tight affair. So off they go. No particular big advantage out of the dive. Maybe just edging it. Started Bjornsson. In lane 4, the Icelander. Second in the Icelandic Championships. Right beside him, Jonas Gahr. So it looks like this is going to be a Scandinavian contest. Alex Meyer of Stirling will try and contest. Hugh Takamoto as well from Edinburgh. And in that black cap, it is Hugh Takamoto who is pushing on, but it looks like lane 5 at the moment. Jonas Gahr, who is just edging it now, although it's close. See, as they go past the 15 markers, there are a number of contenders here. Takamoto is right in the mix, Batut as well. So there's 4 of them coming in there. It's all about finishing skills now, and just stretching to the wall was Jonas Gahr to take it 105.19. Bjornsson 105.36 and Batut 105.41. So is that where they were in the stroke as they came in there? Or something?
Yeah, that really came down to who had timed that final stroke the best, and so sometimes that is done at 5 meters away from the wall. Small adjustments can be made, and it looks like Jonas just came out on top there.
Yeah, just got it. He sort of got it really up the sort of right at the tip of his stroke there as he lunged forward. It was right there. The wall was right in the right place for him.
Sometimes just hitting the pad harder can help that signal register quicker. From my eyes, I thought Batut had got that in 3, but he ended up coming 3rd.
So it's the A final. William Ellington of Stirling University, Einar Augustsson of Iceland, Elias Elsgaard of Denmark, Eugene Cook, Edinburgh University, Archie Goodburn, Edinburgh University, Craig Benson, City of Glasgow, Callum Melville from the Scottish junior team, Rory Dixon of Stirling University, and then 2 Danes, Matthias Christensen in lane 8 and Robert Pedersen in lane 9. So Craig Benson, winner of the 50 breaststroke last night. Archie Goodburn, the fastest qualifier for this one, 102.71. Both of them nominated for places in the Scottish Commonwealth Games team. We talked about Craig, 28 now, doing this as a spare time swimmer almost.
Yep, he's got a full-time job. He trains early mornings only and works in the gym as well. Does his work in the gym. Wildly different from what most people will probably be training per week.
It's a good strong start from Archie Goodburn in lane 4, so he'll be looking to push this one on. The Icelandic swimmer Einar Augustsson going well in lane 1, but well, the centre lane's all pretty well bunched here, but it's going to be Goodburn leading the way, 29.10 against Cooks 29.5, Benson 29.7. So they're the 3, with Eugene Cook of Edinburgh University in lane 3, trying to challenge his teammate. And here comes Craig Benson though, and he is moving up, and he's on to Archie Goodburn's shoulder now, just about, but Goodburn is trying to reverse the result from the 50 breaststroke, and it looks like he's going to hold on to this one. Benson is coming at him, but ran out of pull time, and Goodburn takes the win in 102.22, half a second faster than he was earlier. Entered a 100.7, so it'll be a second and a half within that when you're in hard training. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. I think he'll be pleased with that. Both of those boys will be pleased, Benson and Goodburn. And I know from Craig personally, he was aiming to come back nice and fast there, and he really did look good in the last 15.
Yeah, just needed a few more meters perhaps just to get right at Archie Goodburn, and they weren't there, so Archie takes the win, so it's 1-1 now. 50 for Craig, the 100 for Archie, and we go straight now to the 200 butterfly. And there is Kira Gregg in lane 0 in the junior final, representing Fauldhouse. Her teammate Macy Carty in 1. Ellen Denny of Geary in lane 2. Krista Mackay of Warrender in 3. Helen Stoddart of East Lothian in 4, Georgia Reid, City of Glasgow in 5, Evie Mackey of Lanark in 6, Lauren Anderson of Fauldhouse in 7, Abby Barnstaple of Lanark in 8, and Alexandra Miller of Fauldhouse in 9. So we saw that strong Fauldhouse representation in the 400 IM. We've got 4 of them going here. That's as impressive for a small club.
It's great to see so many young swimmers doing the 200 butterfly long course. Challenging event for sure.
Yep. 239. There were 3 swimmers on 239s in the heats, headed by the East Lothian swimmer Helen Stoddart. I tend to think of her more as a shorter distance fly swimmer. She is certainly a very capable fly swimmer. Let's see how she gets on in this longer event. She was 5th in national age groups, so she has some experience in the 200 fly, and certainly off to a good start. I guess for her, this will be about managing it. You know, as a natural sprinter, I guess the tendency is to go out hard early on, and you might pay for that later.
Definitely. This 200 fly, I think, is a real challenge because fly is a unique characteristic of it. You need to keep the hips up. You need to have a momentum in the stroke. You can't stretch it out as much as perhaps you might do on a 200 breast with nice long glides. You've got to have the balance of tempo, but also not wasting your energy too early.
So it was Abby Barnstable, in fact, in lane 8, first to term. And it looks like some swimmers have gone past her now, and I think it does seem that they are managing the tempo pretty well here. In lane 7, Lauren Anderson. In lane 5, Georgia Reid. Lane 4, Helen Stoddart. Look to be the leading 3 here, and there's not much between them. Not far behind them, Ellen Denny, who's having a busy evening, and the Stirling, or Lanark swimmer rather, Evie Mackey. So at the halfway mark, there's 1400s in it. Georgia Reid just edging it. 16-year-old from the City of Glasgow. Helen Stoddart seems to be getting good turns there, keeping her in the picture in lane 4. But there's Georgia, and also lane 6 now. Lane 7 rather, Lauren Anderson. And then lane 6 as well, Evie Mackey, 13-year-old, the youngest in the field. So she's going well.
She's really looking quite good down this third 50, Evie Mackey, in lane 6. Probably quite a good power to weight ratio for Evie. Real strong young swimmer. She's been promising throughout the season. Great to see.
So there's a race on down this final 50, and this is where we see what they've got in the tank. It'll be starting to hurt, you would think. And it still, well, looks like a 3-way contest now. The Fauldhouse swimmer going well, Lauren Anderson. Can she take this one? Can Evie Mackey, the youngster? Will it be Georgia Reid, who's leading at halfway? Don't think it's going to be Helen Stoddart, although she's not too far away. It's looking like Evie Mackey, the youngster, is the one who's coming through. So that power to weight ratio, as you said, that really did the job for her. 2:36.56, so over 4 seconds faster than she was in the heats.
She is delighted with that. You can see her celebrating in the water there. She is so pleased, and that is what we love to see in those young swimmers. Real passion for the sport they're doing.
Yeah, lovely. Confirmation there. 2:36.56 as she makes her way out of the pool. Still waiting for a confirmed result. Hopefully that's going to come soon. Georgia Reid was a second, Lauren Anderson third. That's what we're expecting to see. Oh, we've got a disqualification, unfortunately. It's Georgia Reid in lane 5. Disqualification there. So that promotes Helen Stoddart into third, 2:39.01. But the winner, no doubt about that, terrific last 50 from Evie Mackey of Lanark, taking it 2:36.56. So on to the B final. Pretty cheerful as they come out there. The City Glasgow swimmers. Introduce them as the Fauldhouse swimmers celebrate Layla Weatherspoon at Heart of Midlothian goes in 0, like the costume. Lane 1, Sterling Swim, Eva Gordon. In lane 2, Kate Cassidy of Aberdeen Performance. In lane 3, Jory Horn, City of Glasgow. 4 is Nuala Gow of Geary. 5, Hannah Willis from the Scottish junior team. 6, Lucy de Grosser from Best. 7 is Madison Cool from Bucky. In lane 8, Lexine McCappin from First. And in lane 9, Alice Cumming from the City of Glasgow. So a 2:32 from Nuala Gow, 2:33 from Hannah Willis, the fastest two in the heats. Jory Horn 2:34. How will that compare with what we're about to see? The fastest of these swimmers on paper coming into this meet was Hannah Willis, who goes in lane 5. 2:25 that she did at national age groups. So we'll see whether she can get anywhere close to that. Good strong start from Layla Weatherspoon over in lane 0. But as they settle into their strokes, it does look like it's Hannah in lane 5. So a member of the junior team, obviously part of that team here, come up from Peterborough, where she does her training. Lane 7 though, Madison Cool of Bucky, pretty much the other end of the country, leads the way, 31.42, up in the Murray Coast. And so it is those two, and in between them, the borders swimmer Lucy de Grosser, based in Gala Shields. So those are our top 3 as we come down to the 100. Led now by Hannah Willis, who's looking good here. Up by maybe a metre, 109.14, Madison 109.60, Lucy 110.86. So Hannah looking well controlled here, just gradually stretching her lead. Do you like what you see, Charlie?
Yeah, Hannah's putting a good display of skills here on for us. She's really utilising her underwaters off the turns, and that's where she's getting those slight gains on the rest of the field, and it's also saving her shoulders and her arms a little bit because she's using more of that underwater kick. Hopefully we see a good bit here.
Yeah, so 148, so a couple of seconds faster than Madison Cool split there on that third 50. So this is looking like a pretty emphatic win for the junior team member. The race is about second at the moment, and it looks like lane 7, Madison Cool, the Bucky swimmer, who's been there or thereabouts all the way through, is coming under pressure now from Nuala Gow in lane 4, and also going well in lane 2 is Aberdeen's Kate Cassidy. But no doubt who's going to take this one. Hannah Willis by around 3-4 metres, comes in 2:28 dead. So not quite as fast as she did in national age groups, but as unrested, and I guess 200 fly, it's very hard to match your rested times when you're unrested.
Definitely tough over those 200 events, and on all strokes really, to be matching your best.
So Nuala Gow taking a second place there, the Curie swimmer, 2:30.62 for her, and Kate Cassidy third, just getting ahead of Madison Cool at the end, 2:33.63 for Kate, Madison 2:33.79. So on to the A final, and out they come. Brown there, always with a smile on her face. It's great to see as she came out. But the lineup here, Stella McCarty of City of Glasgow goes in lane 0. Lane 1, Cecile Helmark of Denmark. In lane 2, Jennifer King of Stirling University. In lane 3, Kira Schlossen at Edinburgh University. Lane 4, Kiana McInnes of University of Stirling. Lane 5, Yvonne Brown of University of Aberdeen. Yasmin Perry in lane 6 from the University of Aberdeen. Amanda Madsen of Denmark in 7. Coco Croxford goes for the Scottish junior team in 8, and Orla McInnes in lane 9 for Heart of Midlothian. So 2 McInnes sisters in lanes 4 and 9. 21-year-old Kiana and the 15-year-old Orla. So Kiana, you would think, would be the hot favourite here. A swimmer who's been on great form so far this weekend. It'll be interesting to see whether Yvonne Brown or Kira Schlossen or Jen King could stay anywhere close to her. Kiana was very impressive yesterday in the 100. Good start in lane 6 from Yasmin Perry. Should have mentioned her as one of the contenders as well, definitely. The Aberdeen-based swimmer, really showing her form. Probably more in the 100 than the 200, but off to a great start here. Right up there with Kiana, 29.58, 29.86. Yvonne Brown in between them, also, of course, training up in Aberdeen with Patrick Miley. And maybe about a metre back now, as Kiana, you would think, will start to wind it up, and perhaps particularly in the second half she will be dominant, but no, they're staying with her at the moment as we come down towards halfway. The 2 Aberdonian-based swimmers, Yvonne and Yasmin. Yvonne learning a trade down in Lanarkshire before going up to Aberdeen for university. 103.13 then for Kiana, 104.04 for Yvonne, 104.6 for Kira Schlossen now into 3rd place. And Kiana is starting to wind this one up now. 2:12.22 her time in the heats. Comes into this meet on a 2:08.86. So let's see what she can muster here. 136 and around a 33 there, so we're looking at maybe around the 2:10 mark. The race now is about second, I think. Yvonne Brown versus Kira Schlossen. There's Kiana in complete control once again, showing her butterfly skills. Winner in the 100 and coming up for a win in the 200. Can she duck under the 2:10? Not quite. 2:10.70 to take the win there. Second was Yvonne Brown, and third Kira Schlossen. So strong swims from all 3 of them inside their heat swims. 2:10.70, and I suppose more to the point how she swam it. Should be happy with that.
I think she probably will be. She kept all of her last 350s on a 33 point. That was probably what she was aiming to do. She probably would have been happier to dip under the 2:10 mark, but a nicely constructed race. Stroke held together very nicely towards the end. I think it was really, really good performance there.
And a meet record to boot. You can see there it was 2:12.22 from the heat, and now she takes it down to that 2:10.70. So nicely done by Kiana. So moving on to the men now, 200 butterfly. And we got a number of swimmers missing in this junior final, so there's just the 4 of them. And it's going to be Caden McLaughlin of Scotia in lane 2. Logan Scally, Aberdeen Performance in lane 3. Oscar Churnside going for Geary in lane 4. Peter Maloney of Inverclyde in 5. And then we move over to lane 7 for Ross Anderton. No Ian McLeod in this one. I think focusing on other events. And there is Ross in the black cap there for East Lothian. So some of those swimmers missing. No Ethan Collins, no Ewan McLeod. So we are left with 5. Fastest of whom in the heats was Oscar Churnside in 2:28. Came into this meet on a 2:27, his national age group silver medal winning time. Cracking start from Ross Anderton.
He's really going out fast for that one.
Hope he knows what he's doing here.
You do hope so. Maybe he just feels very confident. We'll see how it pans out.
This is going for a split, but I hope he's not doing that. So 29.37. He's up by 3 seconds. 14-year-old. So we got a 13-year-old. Well, in fact, we don't, because that was Ethan Collins who's not swimming. Another 14-year-old Oscar Churnside. But certainly, Ross Anderson is tearing this up from the outside lane, essentially. Lane 7. A 2:39 in the heats. Of course, this was another one, as we were talking about earlier, where they knew they were going to get a second swim. They just needed to not be disqualified in the heat. So maybe this is more of a reflection of what Ross can do.
He's still looking pretty strong out there. 106.88 there. It's a strong first 100.
So his entry time, 2:29. He did that national age groups. They are starting to come back at him now. Lane 3, Logan Scally of Aberdeen Performance. Well, I say they're coming back at him. Still got around, 3 meters or so of an advantage. So it's certainly not going for a split. He's certainly pushing this all the way, and well, it's a brave way to do it. Let's see if he can get the job done. You see it definitely is now. Maybe it is starting to pay as Logan Scally has gone past him. You see there 38 for Logan and 42 for Ross. So this must be hurting Ross now.
Yeah, I mean, the term I'd use, he's got elephants on the shoulder on the way home now. His arms are feeling heavy, and he is starting to lose his momentum a bit. But it is valuable to try out different race plans for sure.
So Logan Scally then helps with better strategy, and it's ending up nicely for him. It was entered did a 2:31 in the heats, came in on a 2:29.9. He's going to improve on that. He comes in at a 2:27.24. In a second place, Peter Maloney. Third, Oscar Churnside. And well, a very tired Ross Anderson coming in fourth place. He's still a good bit faster than he was in the heats, but not challenging his national age groups time. So, well, we'll chalk that one up to experience, I think, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit of learning. I'm sure once he adjusts that, once he refines that race plan, it'll be a slightly more comfortable of a swim, as comfortable as 200 flies can be.
Yeah, I suspect the second half of that one was not comfortable at all. No. So, on to the B final now. Out they come. So we have Fraser Tetlow going for Geary in lane 0. Is Fraser there? I'm not sure he is. We've got Lucas Johnson there, Aberdeen Performance. Zach Slater in lane 2 for East Lothian. Lane 3 is James Burnett of Warrender. 4 is George Booth Rudd of Maidenhead. Fraser Wilson, Aberdeen Performance in lane 5. Kyle Mitchell in lane 6 for Geary. Fraser Claxton of Heart of Midlothian in lane 7. Ben McLaughlin of Geary in 8. And Cameron Bruce of Lanark in lane 9. And Fraser Tetlow is here. He was just hiding from us. And he will go in lane 0. So all 10 lanes occupied here. So 2 swimmers on 2:19s in the heat, George Rudd and Fraser Wilson, 2 20-year-olds, one from Maidenhead, one from University of Aberdeen. So out of the dive, and decent start from Fraser Wilson in lane 5. Others up there. 3 15-year-olds, and one of them, James Burnett, is in the mix. The Warrender swimmer in lane 3, probably in third place behind Fraser and George. 29.11, Fraser Wilson at the 50. George now, Maidenhead swimmer, is just about up with him. And then a tight contest between the 2 15-year-olds, or 2 of the 3 15-year-olds, James Burnett and Zach Slater, of course, local rivals in the east. Warren and East Lothian. Now it is George Rudd just edging it at the halfway mark by 700ths, and just looking the stronger coming out of that turn. James Burnett holding on to third, in fact maybe just getting away from Zach Slater now. Zach, I hear, has just been in the States recently on holiday, so he's coming back from that. Probably not the best preparation for this meet, but he'll take what he can from it. Perhaps just another one like Ross Anderson, just feeling it perhaps at the moment. But George Rudd heading for home now, 137.56. So looking good for this one now. Fraser Wilson will keep working hard. He is a worker, Fraser. And he is going to stay as close as he can to George Rudd. But George is going to take this B final pretty comfortably. So 2:19 in the heats, came in on a 2:11. He's not going to match 2:11, but he's not going to be too far away from it. So 2:14.13 to be precise. Second, Fraser Wilson 2:17.75, so a couple of seconds faster than he was this morning. James Burnett 2:20.21 in third. So a good performance there from the Maidenhead swimmer. Of course, Maidenhead, a certain Tom Dean came from there. So it's clearly a strong program, able to produce exciting swimmers. And George Rudd will, I think, be pleased with his efforts there.
Yeah, he was visibly pleased at the end there. He's happy with that swim, and it was a deciding victory in the end.
So to the A final, out they come. So in lane 0, representing Warrender, is Callum Rose. In lane 1 from East Kilbride, Scott Fleming. In lane 2 from Swansea University is Cole Hewitt. In lane 3 from Edinburgh University, Benjamin Chuyan. Then we got 4 from Stirling, Edward Rednich in lane 4. 5 is Albert Bangan. In 6, Peter Allen. In 7, Angus Allison. In lane 8, representing the Scottish junior team, is Ross Noble. Getting a good cheer from his teammates, and he liked that. Lane 9, Rory Young from the city of Glasgow. So we're talking with Ali White this morning about Ross Noble, who's come over from the States to be part of the Scottish junior team. So he's certainly not lacking commitment. In fact, we've got no lane 7 here, no Angus Allison. We saw him earlier, so he's giving this one a miss. So 9 swimmers contesting here. Edward Rednich, the fastest entry time and the fastest in the heats this morning. The Romanian has represented Romania at major events a number of times. Experienced swimmer, 26 years old. Romanian champion. This is probably his best event, 200 fly?
Yeah, I would say so, definitely. He's really experienced in this event. He's quite the study of the sport. He knows how and what he wants to do with his race. I know Eddie will have a really clear plan and just be trying to execute as close to what he wants to do as possible, understanding he's not tapered, he's not shaved down, but he's putting those things into practice.
Cole Hewitt going very nicely in lane 2, the Swansea swimmer, in the 4th in the Paris Potential final at British Championships, and he's actually ahead now of Rednich, narrowly, 59.76 against 59.93. Both of them faster than they were in the heats by a second or more. You would expect Rednich maybe to really push it on in the second half here. It certainly looks like it's going to be between these two, with third place Benjamin Chuyan in lane 3. So let's have a look as they come into the 150, and it is Rednich back into the lead, 132.45 now. He is leading the way. He's some 2 seconds faster than he was in this morning's heat, and he's got this now firmly in his sights to take the win here. Bit of an FX battle going on for second now, because Benjamin Chuyin is closing fast on Cole Hewitt. So let's see who gets that, but Rednich takes the win, 2:05 dead, and it is Chuyin taking second, 2:08.20, just going past Cole Hewitt down that last length. Cole has to settle for third in 2:08.41. So 2:05. Can you read anything from? Well, we can't see his face here. Now we can. What do you think he's thinking?
I think probably initially he'd want to go faster, but I think on reflection, looking at his splits, he should be pleased with that. The last 350s, 32 mid, that's respectable, and with rest, with shaving down, you'd expect that to come down naturally, and on top of that with a faster first 50. I think he'll be happy overall.
Okay, so on to 200 freestyle now, and women up first, junior finalists. So they come out. We've got Sarah Stewart and Malgai and Bearsden somewhere there in lane 0. Lane 1, Grace Noonan, also Malgai and Bearsden. Up to the box there. Lane 2, Coco Croxford from the national junior team. In lane 3, Katja Andrisdottir of Iceland. In 4, Sophie Hirsch of Denmark. In lane 5, Phoebe Arbuckle from the national junior team. In lane 6, Tegan Black from East Lothian. 7 is Susie McNair from First. In 8, Ashley Drake of Warrender. And in lane 9, Charlotte Hardy from the national junior team. So confirmation of the lineup there. Sophie Hirsch with the fastest heat time, 2:09.91. That's a couple of seconds faster than anybody else. We had a couple of swimmers on 2:12s. So Sophie, 15-year-old Dane, perhaps is the one you'd fancy here. So off they go, and it is a decent start from Sophie in lane 4. Going with her in 3, the Icelandic swimmer Katja Andrisdottir. So I think they are 1 and 2 coming down to the 50. Lane 5 not too far away, Phoebe Arbuckle. And lane 8 as well. Good start from Ashley Drake. In fact, she's in second place behind Sophie. Katja just edging past her. We'll just see as they go past those red markers in the centre of the pool, pretty much together. And Sophie with a fairly healthy lead, just around a body length. It is clearly now Katja in second place, and tight now for third. Ashley Drake and Phoebe Arbuckle. Sophie 1:03.03. And pulling away here. And we're seeing tonight quite a few fairly dominant performances coming through from a number of swimmers, and this certainly from Sophie is going to be one of them. So 150 to go, 150 to go, 150 done, 136.38. You see their intermediate split there, 33.3 against 35s from everybody else. So no surprise that this lead is just stretching and stretching. Race is still on for second. It's going to be a fairly tight here. Still the Icelandic swimmer, Katja Andrisdottir, who has got the edge over Ashley Drake and Phoebe Arbuckle, but it's going to be a decisive win for Sophie Hirsch. And she does that in 2:09.98, pretty much replicating her heat swim. Second was Katja Andrisdottir in 2:14.26, and Phoebe Arbuckle in third, 2:15.00. So Sophie there puffing a bit. Well, no surprise really. That was a strong, solid swim. from the Dane. And on to the B final. So in this one, in lane 0, Jennifer Murray goes for Emory University in lane 0. Coming forward to the box there, Molly McAlorum of Ulster in lane 1. Lane 2, Mari Craig of Stirling Swim. In lane 3, Laura Hodgson from the national junior team. In lane 4, Christine Nielsen Norby from Denmark. In lane 5, Catherine Bailey from the Scottish junior team. And also from the junior teams, Natasha Simpson in 6 and Drew McKenzie in lane 7. Lane 8 is Rebecca Reid from Aberdeen, and lane 9, Lauren Patterson. Just checking who that swimmer is in lane 9, whether that's Lauren, because I've got on my start list it's Abby Hall, but
it does look to be Lauren, I think.
Okay, thank you for that. So obviously a late change there. So away we go. Don't know what happened there in lane 3, but Laura Hodgson just left standing on the blocks there, and that's given her a big problem. So the other swimmers all pushing out, much of a muchness. And maybe it's going to be lane 7, Drew McKenzie, City of Glasgow swimmer. In fact, Natasha Simpson, the Warrender swimmer, just touching. So the two from the junior team, very, very close, 29.77, 29.82. Catherine Bailey up with them as well, Perth-based swimmer, also representing the Scottish junior team here. And lane 8, Rebecca Reid from Aberdeen going well. Lane 4, Christine Norby from Denmark is in the mix. So is lane 1, Molly McAlorum, the Ulster swimmer. In fact, she leads now in lane 1, 31.7 for her second 50. Will these swimmers in the central lanes be aware of Molly, do you think?
They should be able to see her. It looks like lane 5, Catherine Bailey, is now moving out. Catherine's been having a great season, as well as Drew McKenzie coming, giving Catherine a good race. They should be able to spot her over there. These girls swimming for the national junior team, they've got lots of support behind them. The group are making lots of noise up here in the stands.
Yeah, and Catherine Bailey now has a half a second advantage in lane 5. Still, probably the main threat is from her junior teammate Drew McKenzie, who's really fast down this last length. Christine Norby trying to go with them as well. So 15 metres to go. It looks like it is just Catherine Bailey still holding the advantage over Christine and Drew, and it is Catherine just taking it. That was a little dodgy at the finish there, and only 200ths in the end from Drew McKenzie, who got a much stronger finish there.
Yeah, great finish there from both of those. Good little battle. Drew will be happy with that, I know, and Catherine definitely pleased too.
Yep, so 2:05.75 for Catherine Bailey. Came in on a 2:07.09 she did a national age group, so take that down to a 2:05. I would think be highly delighted with that.
Absolutely.
So to the A final. And in this one we've got in lane 0, Kristen Helga Hakonadottir of Iceland. In lane 1, Maisie Elliott of Loughborough University. In lane 2, Honey Osrin from Loughborough University. In lane 3, Anne Thastrup Hansen from Denmark. Lane 4, Lucy Hope from University of Stirling. In lane 5, Rachel Anderson of Loughborough. In lane 6, Georgina Dennis from Loughborough. In lane 7, Evelyn Davis from Bromley. In lane 8, Scarlett Orchard from Loughborough University. And lane 9, Anna Røn of Denmark. So a pretty strong field here. Lucy Hope, fastest in the heats, 2:01. A couple of seconds faster, in fact 3 seconds plus faster than Mios. So we'll see whether she can take that form into this final. 1:57. Her entry time, winner of the B final in the British Championships, of course part of those gold medal winning teams in the European Championships last season, and very strong part of that. 4 gold medals she got in relays in the Europeans. Nice thing to have in your trophy cabinet.
Definitely, and coming off the back of the Tokyo Olympics, Lucy's been having a great couple seasons.
So 28.05, so she's up by a second already, using real strong power down that first 50 and keeping that going nicely in the second. It's now beginning to look like who's going to be second. Rachel Anderson in 5 and Thastrup Hansen in lane 3. A number of others not far away either, but well, we talked about dominant leads, and well, at the halfway mark anyway, Lucy is in that position. 58.37 is about 7/10 faster than she was this morning, and a lead of about 2.4. Now, is she keeping that pace going? Looks like she is. That lead is continuing to grow, I think. Still, the contest is between Anne and Rachel for second place in lanes 3 and 5. Maybe Rachel just edging it. Georgina Dennis not too far away as well in lane 6, but there's Lucy then. 31.4 for her third 50, and that is faster than all of the others. And her lead now over 2.5 seconds. So this is going to be an emphatic Lucy Hope victory here. It's looking like Rachel Anderson for second place here, and Georgina Dennis maps, well, pushing with Anne Thastrup Hansen for third. But this is Lucy Hope really taking it on strongly here. What's she going to do? 2:01.14, so pretty much the same time as she did, maybe just easy. I don't know whether it's calling easing back or just perhaps losing a bit of momentum at the end. Perhaps she would have wanted to be a little faster than that, but you can see that, well, she put a lot into that.
I think perhaps maybe slight disappointment to be just off that heat time, but also it shows great development through the day to be able to replicate the same performance, such a strong performance, dominating performance twice in the same day.
You see they're just outside the meet record by around about 4/10. That's fairly academic, she won't worry too much about that. So on to the men's 200 freestyle now. Starting, as always, with the junior final. And in this one we have Cedar Gullen of Warrender in lane 0. Lane 1, Christian Magnusson of Iceland. In 2, Scott Fleming of East Kilbride. He looks pretty cheerful. In lane 3, Stefan Travis for the junior team. In lane 4, his teammate, both in the junior team and in club, Luke Hornsey. 4-5 is Mads Møller of Denmark. 6, Callum Peebles from the national junior team. Rio van der Mullen of Sterling Swim in 7. Travis Davey, Dundee City Aquatics in lane 8. And Lucas Brown, 4th from the national junior team, goes in lane 9. So those junior team swimmers, 3 of them from East Lothian, Stefan, Luke and Callum, and Lucas from up in Elgin. The Dane Mads Møller will be there or thereabouts, you would think. So 2 swimmers under the 2 minutes in the heats, Luke and Mads. Good strong start by Stefan Travis in lane 3. Lane 6, Callum Peebles. Lane 5, Mads Møller. All thereabouts. Lucas Brown starting strongly as well in lane 9, but it's going to be Stefan Travis first to turn. 26.97, a couple of tenths up. And Callum Peebles, Lucas Brown, so the Scottish junior team, 1, 2 and 3 early on here. And Kravis certainly making an early statement here. He's really pushing this on, very strong man, using all that power.
Yeah, he's a very tall young man, and he's been swimming brilliantly this season so far. Just 16 years old, and he's turning a 56 too. Good swim so far.
So it's Kravis, Peebles and Hornsey, 1, 2 and 3 here. But Mads Muller in about the swimmers contesting second and third, but once again it's about dominant performances here. We saw that from Lucy Hope just now, and we're seeing that from Stefan Kravis here in the junior final. He was a 2:00 in the heats earlier. He is entered on a 1:56.8, 1:26 at the turn, so he's going to be pretty much on that 1:56, you would think. Certainly no question he's going to take this heat. Mads Muller maybe just edging past the other two Scots, although Luke Hornsey is contesting that pretty hard. And they are starting to come in on Stefan Kravis, but they're not going to get there. It does look like Luke Hornsey is going to take second. So Stefan Kravis 1:58.26, Luke Hornsey 1:59.56, Mads Muller just over the 2 minutes, 2:00.09. So a good race and a good strong performance from Stefan there. Take the win in 1:58.26. So we're obviously into session 6, heat day 2 of this 3-day meet, unrested. You're swimming quite a lot of events. Do you start to tire? Is it hard to sort of keep replicating close to your best times as the meet progresses?
It can be, but if you're managing yourself, you can maintain your momentum through the meet. It really can be a bit of a test of that. How well are you doing all of the things outside of the pool? Eating, sleeping, resting.
So on to the B final now. And we've got Greg Fairbairn, Stirling University, going in lane 0. Lane 1 is Kasper Pugard from Denmark. Lane 2, Piers Greening, Stirling University. In lane 3, Cameron Travis from the national junior team. In lane 4, Rory McKinnon of the national junior team. In lane 5, Henry Baker of Stirling University. Lane 6, Liam McLaughlin, Edinburgh University. In 7, George Smith of Leamington Spa. In lane 8, Michael Flynn from City of Glasgow. And lane 9, Jude Lydiard from Edinburgh University. So 2 more from the national junior team, both 18-year-olds, so at the top end of the juniors. And Rory McKinnon was the one who was fastest in the heats of this group, 1:57 dead. 4th for a second faster than Henry Baker. Cameron Travis not too far away as well. Henry Baker represented GB at last year's European Juniors, so he'll be looking to be sort of starting his transition as course a final year as a junior here, and then looking to progress to the senior ranks. So he is in lane 5 in the black cap for Stirling. Beside him, Rory McKinnon, based here in Glasgow, and also a great start there in lane 7 from George Smith, the Leamington swimmer. And he is really pushing it on. The swimmers in the centre lanes will be hoping that they can pull him back in the second half, because this is a pretty strong start from the Leamington swimmer, another 18-year-old. And a 1:57.6 in the heats, and he goes through 54.93. So pacing 28.7 versus 29.4s for the swimmers behind him. So they're going to have to pick it up hard in the second half here. There's 5 of them pretty much all in a line contesting second, with good swimmers up the top of your screen there. Kasper Pugard, Piers Greening in particular, Greg Fairbairn sticking with them as well, but well, it still is George, and they're not making any ground on him whatsoever. 29.3 then, so again that is around 7/10 faster than anybody else on that penultimate length. So surely he has got this one. This is another one that goes into the category of emphatic wins. So many of those today. So 157.6 for George. In the heats, he's going to be faster than that by quite a margin, 153.74. So you would think he has to be pretty content with that. George Smith coming into this meet on a 158.
Wow. What a performance by George there. Really actually just swam it completely different to the rest of the field there. He did what he needed to do to put himself out there ahead of the crowd and then tested himself. Could he hold on that last 50? He brought it home. Brilliant performance for him.
Yep. Very good performance. Now to the A final. Out they come. So lane 0, Charlie Poole from Stirling University. In lane 1, Matthias Christensen from Denmark. In lane 2, Charlie Brown of Loughborough University. In lane 3, Jacob Goodman of Loughborough University. In lane 4, Nicholas Castella from Denmark. In lane 5, Stephen Milne, Stirling University. In lane 6, Tony Joe Trent Oliver from Stirling University. In lane 7, Oscar Eisberg of Denmark. 8, Evan Bailey from Ireland. Jack Munsey in lane 9 for Stirling University. Jack, the winner of the 1500 yesterday. But you'd expect this between Goodman, Castella and Milne. You'd fancy other favourites here. All of them won their respective heats. Castella just 15 years old, the Dane, in lane 4. So what can he produce here? 152, pretty fast for a 15-year-old.
It's pretty strong, pretty strong. And this, we've been talking about it with the younger swimmers. Has he managed himself outside of that to recover and repeat that tonight?
Well, we're about to find out. Certainly some of the older swimmers just slightly stronger off the blocks, but you can see Castella coming up to them. Lots of white water behind these swimmers. Stephen Milne, I think, is going to lead them through the 50. A very experienced campaigner, of course. Or is he? No, it's Goodman, in fact. 25.83. 800's ahead of Milne. Charlie Brown up there. Charlie Poole as well. And Castella. So this has all the makings for a cracker. Well, this is not going to be an emphatic victory for anyone. This is going to be a hard-fought battle. Lane 2, Charlie Brown looking pretty good. But there's 4 in a line now. Lanes 2 through to 5. And it is Brown first to the turn. 53.74, up by a 10th from Goodman. So those two now, the two Loughborough boys, taking it out. 21-year-old Charlie Brown, 22-year-old Jacob Goodman. Stephen Milne, Nicholas Castella trying to stay with them as we come up to the 150. But is this going to be a Loughborough contest down the stretch here? Brown with the advantage by 6/10. A 28-2 split as well, was pretty fast for his third 50. He's got himself in a good position here. But they're coming at him now. Stephen Milne in 5 and Jacob Goodman in 3, and both of them pushing hard here. But it is still Charlie Brown leading the way, but that lead is shrinking. They are all coming hard at him now into the final 5. Is it going to be Stephen Milne? It is. What a finish from the Stirling swimmer. 150.27, and great acceleration down that last length. Look at that, 27.2 for his final 50. And that compared with 28.1 for Goodman, 28.7 for Brown. Well, that was a turn up for the book. Stephen Milne with that back end speed.
Yeah, you can always count on Stephen to put on a good show. He's really showing his strength in the last 50 there. He's comes from a background of a longer distance event and clearly had a lot more in the tank, bringing it back in 27.2, which was faster than anyone else in the rest of the field there. So brilliant, well done Stephen, and it's joint second for the other two there.
Yeah, 150.69 for the two Loughborough swimmers, so honours even there with Castella in 4th. The youngster putting in another 152 to match his 152 in the heats. So we go to the 50s now, 50 backstroke tonight. And again, it's the women first. Melissa Meni in the junior final in lane 0. Bronwyn Payne in lane 1 for best. Emma Leggett of Hamilton in lane 2. Zoe Crawford of first in 3. Lucy Stowes, Dundee City Aquatics in 4. Suna Jane, just check on what proper name is for Suna. We'll come back to you on that. Catherine Renfrew in 6 for Perth City. Maria Howe of Aberdeen Performance in 7. Eddie Armstrong, East Lothian in 8. And Layla Weatherspoon of Heart of Midlothian in lane 9. So that is the lineup here. They're just checking on the starting equipment. Suna J. Arnfinnsdottir, it is in lane 5. That name just beating our character limit on our scoreboard, I'm afraid, so apologies for that, Suna. I think she's had to live with that all weekend. So the times here, Lucy Stowes the fastest, 31.2. About 8/10 faster than anybody else in the heat, so that's quite a lot in the context of a 50. So we'll see whether she can keep that going here. Certainly off to a decent start. The pick cap in lane 4 for Dundee. Others not too far away. Payne going well in lane 1. Lane 8 up there. Amy Armstrong of East Lothian. Who's going to get this? It does look like it is Lucy Stowes, though. Just starting to ease away from a line of swimmers behind her. And takes the win in 31.57. 3/10 away. She hurt her back, do you think, there?
Looks
doesn't
in
look
pain
good,
there.
does
I hope
it?
she's okay.
Yeah.
Well done for carrying on, if that's the case.
Yeah, she was 3/10 slower than she was in the heat, and maybe that was because of that injury. So, yeah, so Lucy, we hope you're okay there. We'll see how she comes out of the water, but that was a little concerning how she was holding her back there at the end. We're just waiting for confirmation of that result. So what we're seeing on the board at the moment is 31.57 for Lucy. A joint second. Although that's a bit odd. They're showing different times, 32.24 and 32.25, but joint second. So I'm guessing it'll be Ailey Armstrong, maybe with an inserted 32.24 as a backup time from Maria Howe, 32.25. But we'll wait for confirmation of that. And 32.26, Zoe Crawford, so it couldn't be closer there. 32.24, 32.25, 32.26, second, third, and fourth.
You really couldn't pick any of them out at the end of there in second place. It was very, very close.
Still waiting for confirmation of it, though. So, well, the good news is Lucy seemed to get out of the pool okay. So, still holding her back a bit as she moves away, but hopefully she is okay. It's just a temporary little glitch.
We've had a disqualification.
Yeah, it's Bronwyn Payne, unfortunately, is disqualified. So we'll see whether that is now a confirmed result. Still not. So now we have it. Now, unfortunately, Bronwyn Payne disqualified. So Lucy Stowes first, 31.57, and then those three just hundredths apart. Ailey Armstrong, Maria Howe, and Zoe Crawford. So we move on to the B final. Out they come. And in lane 0 for Denmark, Louise Theisted. In lane 1 for Kirkintilloch is Emma Scobie. In 2 for Loughborough University, Natasha Whittle. In lane 3 for the national junior team, Holly McGill. In lane 4 for Denmark, Shastine Tabor. In lane 5 for the junior team, Kiana Kurtzer. In lane 6 for Loughborough University, Tatiana Tostevin. In lane 7 for South Ayrshire, Kira Sterica. In lane 8, Ava Simpson representing Edinburgh University. And in lane 9 representing Ireland is Grace Davison. Shastine Tabor, 30.59. Holly McGill, 30.60. Kiana Kurtz at 30.60. And the heats are just 100th between the top three, and in fact 30.62 for Tatiana as well. So I think this is up for grabs category.
This will be a good race. Looking forward to it.
themselves up for the start. Referee's hand comes out, off they go. So I guess off the wall, very important there, and try and use as much of that 15 meters as you can without going beyond it. Lane 1, Emma Scobie, very much the 50 backstroke specialist, is looking good. Beside her in the white cap, Louise Thosted. So all the action at the moment up at the top of the screen. And is it going to be Thosted? Oh, they're all coming at her now. Who's going to get the touch? Oh, Tostovid, 30.42. McGill, 30.43. So we thought it was up for grabs. It looked for a long time that it was going to be the two at the top of the pool, but no. Tostovid takes it. McGill second, Tabor third.
Really only, 0.47 from first to 10th. That's a very tight final there all round.
Yeah, absolutely. And are we going to get another very tight one? I think we might do in this A final. So they are out to the blocks now. Frida Knudsen of Denmark in 0. Anna Green of the Scottish junior team in 1. Emily Grant of Aberdeen Performance in 2. Yasmin Hamelin of Millfield in 3. Cassie Weil of Stirling University in 4. Steingirda Haukstotter of Iceland in 5. Martine Damborg of Denmark in 6. Christine Nielsen Norby of Denmark in 7. Charlie Jones of Loughborough in lane 8. And Sophie Hirsch of Denmark, who goes in lane 9. So the fastest in the heats was Cassie Wild. That was a fantastic European Championship she had, including a 4th place in this 50 backstroke. A magnificent 200 backstroke there as well. But this is about the 1 length of the pool. 29.44 time this morning. Steingirda Haukstotter, second fastest 29.61. They were the only 2 under 30. Lots of white caps, including the 2 in the centre lanes, Cassie and Steingirda. Nice start from Cassie Wild there, and she's opened up the gap as they go past halfway. She's nearly a metre up. Can she hold that now? Is anybody going to come at her? Lane 2 going well. Emily Grant, Anna Green beside her, but this is going to be Cassie Weil by about 1.5 meters in the end. 29.06, so that's a nice improvement on a 29.4 entry time. So giving nothing away whatsoever there.
She looks very controlled there. I think I should be relatively pleased with that. It's a decisive victory across a 50 to win by 0.87. I think she'll be pleased with it. There's definitely more there. She will want to go faster in the summer.
Yeah, Hamelin second, 29.93 and 30 on the dot for Haukstotter. Just ahead of Emily Grant, Martine Damborg in the 30.0s. So we finish off with the men's 50 backstroke. Can we start with the juniors? 0 is Owen Williamson of East Lothian. In lane 1, Ethan Stewart of Hamilton. In lane 2, Greer van der Merlen of Sterling Swim. Luke Hornsey back for another go for the Scottish junior team. He goes in lane 3. Mats Muller as well has had a good, busy evening. He goes in 4 for Denmark. Robert Burgess, City of Glasgow in 5. Bernier Freyr Halfdanison goes in lane 6 for Iceland. Robbie Boyd of Warrender in lane 7. Cameron Doran of Bellsill in 8. And Lex Garrett completes the field representing South Ayrshire in lane 9. That's Muller at 27.99. Quarter of a second faster than Burgess and Hornsey. So Mads and Robert, both 17-year-olds. Luke and Barnier, 16-year-olds. So Mads Muller wanted to finish off day 2 with a strong swim. And away they go. Nearly What a good start there, Mads, in the white cap in lane 4. Also going well, Bernier Halfdanison in lane 6. Looks like those two here as we come down, but others not far away. Greer van der Merlen in particular in lane 2, but I think it's going to be the Dane taking this one. It's a scramble for second place, but Mads Muller clear of that. 27.67, 3/10 faster than he was earlier in the heats.
That looked good there. He really got a good underwater phase at the start of the race, got the right balance of distance and speed there, and then just held his distance across the other boys there.
So Halfdanison just getting second, 28.12, and Robert Burgess in third, 28.26. So the B finalists now coming out to the box. And in lane 0, we've got Shaquille Giordani going for City of Manchester Aquatics. In 1, Cameron Travis for the Scottish junior team. Conor Massey goes for University of Aberdeen in 2. Kasper Pugard in 3 for Denmark. Brogan Hyde for Stirling University in lane 4. Mark Ford, City of Glasgow in 5. Hanna Sneva Haukson goes for Iceland in lane 6. Lucas Brown for the Scottish junior team in lane 7. Alexander Harris of Stirling Swim in 8. And Salvador Gordo, Stirling University in lane 9. Salvador Gordo, the Angolan. That looked like an Angolan hat that he's wearing there. Represented Angola at the African Junior Championships. Finest there. They're going in lane 9 here. So Brogan Hyde, his teammate from Stirling, the fastest in a 27.10 from Mark Ford of City of Glasgow, 27.36. So black cap from Stirling, blue cap from Glasgow in the centre lanes. You see them using most of that 15 metres they're allowed. And certainly Gordo off to a great start in lane 9 there. Can he keep that going down the second half of this race? Really tight, lanes 3, 4 and 5. Pugard, Hyde and Ford. And also lane 0, Giordani and Travis in lane 1. This is all over the place, but a touch goes to Ford in 27.13. Hyde second, Travis third. Oh, he likes that. Nice wee grin there.
He'll be happy with that. I know this morning he didn't quite get his underwater right, and he looks to have nailed it there. And he's moved it on. He's moved his time on. Not quite as fast as Brogan had gone in the heats, but the smallest of margins can make the biggest of differences in a 50-metre race.
Yeah, very, very close there. You see 2 on 27.4 in joint 4th place behind Cameron Travis, 27.38. So again, you've not got its fine margins, 7/10 across the field there. One more race to go, everybody. It's the A final of the 50 backstroke. We've got Zach Speakman, Stirling University in 0. Matthew Ward of the Scottish junior team in 1. Jamie Robertson of Stirling University in 2. Martin Walton, part of the Scottish Commonwealth nominations, in lane 3. Jonathan Adam of Bath National Centre in 4. Scott Gibson, Edinburgh University in 5, another in that Commonwealth Games nominations. Cameron Brooker of Bath in 6. Craig McNally of Stirling University in 7, another one who we hope will be in Birmingham. Robert Pedersen of Denmark in 8. Sam Pease of Stirling University in lane 9. 25.64 and 25.65, Jonathan and Scott in the heat. Scott Gibson has been in electric form recently. Silver medalist in the British Championships. Winner in Edinburgh, winner in Bangor at the McCullum meet. Can he be a winner in Glasgow, or will Jonathan Adam get it?
Martin Walton is capable of being in the 25 mids as well. He'll be challenging as well.
Yep, he certainly will. And who knows what Craig McNally might produce.
Craig McNally, good 200 as well. Is he on form for the sprint?
So out of the push-off, and it's hard to call this, but, well, I was going to say Gibson, but...
Looks like it might be at the moment.
It's so close, though. Certainly, Adam is up there as well, and plenty of others. This is all about the touch now. Who gets it? Ducking into the wall, it's Gibson. 25.60. So, very similar time to what they did earlier. So that was about skills there, and I think Scott Gibson would be pleased with the way he finished that.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be pleased with it overall. I think he may have been entered on slightly faster, but that's solid at this time in the season.
Just outside the meet record there, you can see 25.53, just 700ths away from that. So Adam's second, 25.68. Martin Walton, 25.92. We're done, Charlie. Can you believe it? We rattled through that.
It flies by, doesn't it? What a great session. Some real strong performances on display there.
So as we see that result confirmed on the venue scoreboard, we are done for day 2. So we wish you a very good evening from Tollcross International Swimming Centre. So from Charlie and myself, we hope to see you tomorrow morning. Coverage begins just before 9 o'clock. But for now, we wish you a very good evening.